Hey everyone, welcome to a highly requested video on how to throw in better. My throw-ins are all with the accurate windbreak fuse, pretty much a straight shot if you're out to about 150 feet. You need to know the aim point and the power. The aim point for me is always the bottom chevron pointing right at the rim of the basket. 60 feet of power, I'm always around, it's 80 feet. 60 is going to be right at the top of the gray bar here, where I have the gray outline on the white bars. 70 is in the middle of the white bar. 80 is at the bottom of the gray bar. 100 is about that same distance incrementally, going further. 150 is going to be in the middle of the two white Wi-Fi bands. 200 is right at the top of the middle Wi-Fi band. So this one was 60 feet, get right to the top of that gray Wi-Fi band, and throw in there low on the chains. Here I am at 78 feet. I'm going to line up the aim on the top of that rim, and I'm around 78 to 80, and pull right into that gray band to the 80-foot throw-in. Heading straight into the basket. You don't have to worry too much about the speed at which it's traveling. Most of the time, as long as you hit middle chains or lower, this basket is likely to catch that disc. Here's 97 feet, which we're going to just round to 100. And the throw-in is just a little bit beyond that gray Wi-Fi band to drop into the center chains. Here's a nice example for 150 feet. A likely place you're going to end up on ENZO 3 after you get down to the shelf. Put the bottom chevron in the middle of the basket and pull that straight back to about 150 feet of power in the middle of the two bands. That's a common place you're going to get that 150. 200 is the next one to show. Best chance here is actually over on Sunshine Glade 1, so I'll head that way. I'm going to show the pullback and aim here. Who knows if it actually goes in? I'm not that high of a percentage. But the aim at 200 feet, it starts to get a little bit squirrely with the fuse, turn it over to the right a bit. So I'm going to aim a little bit to the left of the basket here. And the pullback is right to the top of this white Wi-Fi band. Is it going to get it first time? No, not quite. The power is right. You're going to have to mess around with the aim to figure out that shot. We're making sure that you can make this. This 200-foot throw in Sunshine Glade 1 is one that if you're not making in multiplayer ever, you're going to be losing strokes. So dial that in, and I could spend more time on that right now. I'm just put that video here to show you the aim point and power at least. So far, all of the throw-ins I've shown you have been intentionally with a one wind and on a ground level basket. When the basket is raised, you're starting to bring elevation into play. So an elevated basket, like here on Cahoe Park 9, you're going to add 10 feet to your power. So that 65 is right about there. I'm going to throw it closer to 70, a little bit lower for the 5 feet, and 75 to account for that elevation, and get up there into the basket. If I threw out only 65, I would have hit the cage and stopped short there. You, of course, can also have downward elevation. We're going to take some distance off. So this is a pretty steep elevation. It's about where in the judgment. So I'm going to throw us about half power, about 30, 40 feet of power down that hill to get over the rim into that basket. Of course, baskets can also be raised up more than the standard raise. So this one on Coyote Canyon 5, you're going to be adding about 20 feet of power. So it's 62 foot, but I'm adding 20 feet of power. So I'm going to go to the bottom of that gray Wi-Fi band to get up there, adding that 20 feet to get up into this basket. The next important thing to account for is going to be headwinds and tailwinds. So anything more than one wind, you're going to want to make adjustments for the power in a headwind or tailwind. With this 3 headwind, I'm going to take 30 feet, so 10 feet for each one wind, of power off this throw. So with the 90-foot throw in, rather than 90 feet of power, about here, I'm going to go back off to 60 feet of power to let the wind do the extra lift to get that disc into the basket. If you instead have a tailwind, instead of taking that full 30 feet of power off like you do for the headwind, you're going to take 10 less. So if there's 3 foot tailwind, I'm going to take 20 feet of power off and throw this in with 70 right in the middle of that white Wi-Fi band. The tailwind is pushing the disc forward, but doesn't quite change the height as much as that headwind does. Area to consider is a crosswind. So the crosswind is going to push your disc to the left or to the right. With a 3 crosswind, it's also going to be lifting your disc as well. So with this 3 crosswind left to right, I'm going to aim just a little bit to the left on this basket and throw with about 30 feet of power. So putting it all together with an elevation change and a headwind like this, I know that the Coyote Canyon 5 basket is a 20 feet of power elevation change. So I'm going to keep the aim the same. 20 feet would have me throwing about 70 feet of power, but I also have the 2 headwind, which is going to lift me about 20 feet, which means this is still going to be a 50-foot power throw-in order to get up there into this basket. Beyond that 100, 120 feet or so, out to 150 to 200, you see the winds tend to affect the power you need to change a lot less. That's a more advanced and future video, if I ever get it fully dialed in from 150 out to 200, to be able to give you that advice for how to throw it. But when you're out to about 100 and 120 feet, these rules that I'm telling you all show true. Know the distance to the basket, know your power pullbacks, make an adjustment to the power you need to throw based on any elevation changes or wind, and then trust your math when you put it together and gain those strokes on your opponents. Hope this helps you to gain some strokes and stay bogey free.